Heather Moyse, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I'm good. It's so great. You're out in beautiful Prince Edward Island.
Yes.
And there are schools right now in PEI that I know Bluefield out there at PEI wanted me to say, hi, Heather.
Shout out to all the schools watching. Bluefield, what's up? So good to be here. And I'm
Heather,
glad you're all here. This is such a great event. This is so great. So I'm glad you're all tuned in.
Yeah, more than 20,000 people have registered for this event.
I
so
know.
It's pretty freaking amazing. But it's not what we want to be doing. I mean, you and I, we'd love to have you here on the stage. So my first question for you, Heather, is as somebody who has lived their lives, at least their adult life especially, in that high performance world of competition and always pushing yourself to be better, to achieve more, how have you, as a leader and an athlete, and you're who you are, how has COVID affected you?
Oh gosh, that's a big question. I think COVID has affected everybody in one way or another. I think for me personally, it has changed my entire business. I mean, up until COVID, I was living on the road constantly. Literally, I kind of was quite transient. I was of no fixed address. I had no principal residence. I was living out of a suitcase all over the place, going from event to event to event, which I loved because I got to meet so many people and to empower so many people. And since COVID, I mean, COVID kind of put a halt to all of that. I mean, it is, you can question whether it's essential travel or not to inspire and empower people, but it really is not essential in the big scheme of things. And so it kind of shut all of that down. So last year was a bit of a struggle in terms of not just the business side of it, but also that, that sense of meaning and that sense of purpose that I had, and feeling a little bit lost in terms of how do I still deliver that and how do I still help people and reach as many people as I can. So, I mean, it was a little bit of a struggle and a transition, and, some things pivoted, some things shifted, learning how to reach people virtually and find out after doing a number of virtual events that even though I'm not there in person, I'm still actually able to make an impact. And it afforded me the opportunity to do a little bit more, personal coaching with people. Before, the time and schedule just didn't allow for that. So it has taken a little bit of time to figure things out, but it has shifted things and given me opportunities to do other things, and also check in with myself and make sure I am doing what I really want to be doing and that I'm feeling fulfilled. So yeah, it's been a struggle for everybody, but it's been, it's just changing with the times. So
we're getting a lot of people have questions. Please send them to us because we're getting questions now coming in. And I want to ask a question because you are somebody who actually works with elite performers, athletes and business people, etc. How would you tell someone right now who is struggling, to try and figure out how to get through this last 15 months? They're still in this hazy blur, and they can't find focus, and they can't find anything. What's your advice to teachers and to students who are out there just trying to navigate this never-ending COVID thing?
I think that there are a few different ways and suggestions and things that I work through clients with, and I work with everybody, not just high performers and not just or seemingly high performers or just corporate people. I mean, I've worked with students before one-on-one, and I've worked with younger athletes who are trying to achieve higher levels, and it's been really, really great. But everyone has these, whether it is COVID, whether it is an injury, whether it is struggling with that question about meaning and having gotten to a place of outward material success but not feeling fulfilled. I mean, at some point or another, many people go through this. And I think the question is, if you are pursuing something you really love and doing something you really love, would you rather be doing something different if the outcome doesn't turn out the best way? For example, if someone is striving to go to the Olympics, usually it would take, a 4-year cycle of training or an 8-year cycle, or the preparation to get there and to pursue that goal. Well, if you decide to turn down other opportunities to pursue that, but you get an injury a month before the Olympics and you're unable to compete in those games, will you regret the time that you put into that and think it was a waste of time? Or will you actually realize that even if you weren't going to make the Olympics, would you have chosen that anyway because you were simply doing something you loved to be doing and that you wouldn't have chosen any other way? And the other thing, when I'm going through all of these things and with COVID and everything, is really, I know this is a word that's kind of become a little bit overused, but it's become overused for a reason. And part of that is gratitude and perspective. And I mean, for me, I've had some tough days this past year. I'm not going to lie, some tough days, some tough weeks even. And I've had to remind myself of the things that I am truly grateful for and lucky to have in my life. And those things are usually the people in my life, the support that I have in my life, the ability and the platform that I have to empower other people when I get the opportunity to do so, and to help them improve their lives. And it's sometimes just, perspective is a big word that I use with my clients and with people I'm speaking to, whether it's from a stage or in person. And perspective is, I think, the key to a lot of struggles with anything, whether it's COVID or something else, whether it's injury or something else.
And you might ask this question might be tied to what you just said, but Molly asks, hi Heather, I wanted to ask, what did you do to bounce back when all the tough times and challenging times in your Olympic career and journey?
Yeah, I think I kind of just answered that question.
I think so too.
A lot of it has to do, for me, was perspective. So with those, like with a lot of the injuries that I had going towards the Olympics, I mean, I had a couple of hip surgeries, and sometimes you get those naysayers, even sometimes the people that we hear, those voices that we hear on social media or whatever, sometimes those can also kind of rock the boat a little bit in terms of your confidence, or in terms of your wanting to keep moving forward. And sometimes it's really just putting things in perspective and reframing it. And again, asking the questions, am I doing what I love to be doing? Or do I love this challenge? Or if it doesn't work out in the end, am I going to think it's a waste of time? And does that mean I need to actually shift where I'm putting my focus and pursue something different? And a lot of times we sometimes feel like we're stuck on a path because other people also expect us to follow that path, but we're not stuck. It's all reminding myself that everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. Everything. We may not feel like, some people, I've had pushback from some clients saying, no, I don't have a choice there. Well, you do. It's just that the alternative, the other choice, is just such has a horrible outcome or a horrible consequence to it, that you feel like you don't have a choice. But when you're reminded that is my choice, like that I can truly choose to do this or to not do this, or to pursue this or to not pursue this, just realizing it's a choice is extremely empowering. And by taking that and moving forward with that, it is even choosing how to react to somebody, choosing how to behave, the words we use. Like I mean, it's a choice. And I think reminding ourselves of that is extremely empowering.
I agree. Aruna asks from Calgary, she asks, as an aspiring athlete, do you have any advice for those tough days? Which I think is kind of what you're saying.
A little bit. This is a little bit different though, when you're like specifically for training. Tough days, it's the same thing. It's keeping things in perspective. I'm going to touch on, when I spoke at the same event last year, I was talking about like some of the stories I shared. And sometimes I have this like no regrets philosophy. So no regrets equals no excuses. So in order to get to the end and have no regrets at the end means you have no excuses along the way. And you realize that there are no excuses, there are only choices. Yeah. And at the end, if you get to the end and look back and say, I didn't win, say I didn't win at the Olympics, or say I didn't make the team, could I still look back on all the choices I made along the way and look back and say, no, there's really probably nothing I would have changed. There's nothing more I could have done. So if you kind of make those decisions along the way to get there, then not coming out on top, like coming second even, or just missing the podium, or just, like I did in my very first Olympics, we came fourth, and I look back and there was really nothing more I could have done. So you can't change somebody else. You can't change how they train. You have no control over how talented they are, or what genetics they have, or what equipment they have, or what they've done for training. So all you can do is just make sure that you're putting yourself in the best position to have no regrets at the end. And so sometimes when things come up, for example, I often use the example of me going to the gym. When I was in Prince Edward Island visiting my family, I went to the gym on a day that I just did not feel like training. Did not feel like training. I wanted to have a normal, lazy summer day like it seemed like everyone else was having. And it was an upper body workout day, and I hated upper body workouts. But if you want to be the best at what you do, if you want to become a champion, you have to make champion choices. And I don't just mean that in terms of sports. I mean in anything, a champion in whatever industry you're pursuing, you have to make the champion choices that will get you there. So I dragged myself to the gym. I got out of the car, walked, trudged up the steps and reached for the door handle, and I found that the door was locked. And there was a sign that said closed for the holidays. And I was so psyched, Stu. I spun around with the biggest smile on my face, walked back to the car with a newly found bounce in my step, drove home singing, and then I got into the house and flopped down on the couch and was ready to just have a great, relaxing, binging day. And then a vision popped in my head of the girl who was fighting for my spot. And it wasn't even someone from another country. It was a girl in Canada who was fighting for my spot on the team. And I knew she lived in Toronto, and I knew the gyms didn't close in Toronto for anything, well, except COVID. We know that now.
Yeah.
But back then it was like, okay, well, she's going to be training. And if I just don't train today and I don't make the team, am I going to look back? Is this day going to haunt me? Am I going to regret this and just say, what if only, and wonder for the rest of my life? So I went up to the school that was also closed, but a few blocks from the house. And I did an upper body workout on the playground equipment outside of that school. Now, it wasn't the same workout I would have done in a gym, but the point was I did something, and I left there knowing that I was doing everything I could in pursuit of what was important to me. And I also left realizing that excuses really are everywhere.
Yeah.
And so that made me a little more in tune, a little more intentional, and a little more aware of some of the things that we vocalize, whether it's in our heads or whether we're vocalizing it outwards, the things we tell ourselves that are impossible, or we can't do this, or we come up with these reasons, but really they're kind of excuses that we've learned to justify as reasons.
Yeah.
And so I think that if we do everything we can, then by the end, regardless of the result, you can still be at peace knowing that you did everything you could. And so I developed that philosophy pretty early on in bobsledding, and it's carried me really, really far. And so to me, that's kind of what helps me get through the bad days. Sometimes if training's not going well, or if it's just one of those kind of flat days of training and you're like, oh my gosh, the brain starts playing tricks on you, and you start down talking yourself. But for me, a big thing with training was journaling. Not really like journaling, like, hi, I'm having a bad day, but like the actual just training, like what I did for training, what I was able to lift, how many sets, how many reps, how many, and at the beginning. So you can look back and say, okay, yeah, I might not have been having a great training day, and I might have only been able to lift this amount when last week I was able to lift this amount. And so you could be frustrated because you're not quite able to lift as much as you lifted the week before. But if you look back, you're still able to lift twice as much or 3 times as much as you were 4 months ago.
Yeah.
So if you have documentation, you can actually see progress. It's not always a linear upward progression. So by having documentation, you can flip back and be like, okay, Heather, get over yourself. Like, it's just your nervous system might just need a break this week. You just need to go through the motions and do it. And it's not, by looking back, you can see that your head's playing tricks on you, and you really are progressing, and you really are heading in the right direction. So,
Heather, I mean, you're part of our Canadian Youth Speakers Bureau, and I love when some of the stories you just alluded to, you talk about in your speech, and some of your visuals you do are so powerful to see. Like I remember the visual of you on that playground, doing the workout, the video of you pushing the van, the video of all those, the pictures and the videos you have of those things. And I just think it's such a powerful thing. And I think those stories you tell are great. And by the way, teachers out there, Heather is an amazing person to bring into your event, into your school, into your program. Like, talk to us about her, because she's a game changer. A question I had, the reason why I asked this is because one of the questions I had was, Heather, through your long storied career, what is your most proud moment? And I think I know what it might be, but I'm curious, quickly, if we can kind of, we're getting out of time here, but what is your most proud moment you have through all the being an author, being an incredible speaker, being two-sport athlete, going to the Olympics, being in a Hall of Fame? What is the moment, like if you had to singular put it down, what would it be? Narrow it down.
I think there are, oh God, I can only pick one. I think there are three.
I want one. Okay, well, quickly do three. I just don't want to go.
Quick. Okay, so the thing is that a lot of people assume that 2 Olympic gold medals would be the proudest accomplishment or whatever. And I am proud of those, because of it means that we were able to achieve what we set out to achieve, and kind of be able to accomplish that despite the pressures and despite all of that stuff, and be able to do something like that for my country. I'm hugely just proud to be Canadian.
Sure.
And to be able to do that. But the thing is, it's not just about Canada. It's not just about that. It's about proving to people and showing people, demonstrating to people what's possible. And especially despite the doubters and the naysayers and the people who kind of try to drag you down with their own disbeliefs. And that is one of the proudest moments for me, was actually when I lived in Trinidad and Tobago for almost 3 years, and I went down on an internship. And this has nothing really to do with sports. It's kind of a reflection of everything. When I went down there, I went down initially on an internship, a 9-month internship, and I decided that I wanted to leave something there that was permanent, that could help people there. And I told my supervisor down there that I wanted to start and create a sports leadership development camp for kids who were deaf or hearing impaired, from kids around the Caribbean. And he was wonderful, but he did not really believe that was possible. So he kind of just said, okay, you just work on whatever, you do you, kind of thing. And I did. And when I received the first support, like a sponsor check in the mail from a mayor from one of the other cities, he kind of just said, well, I guess there's no turning back now.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, there was no turning back anyway. I was going to do this. And then that Camp ABLE, which stands for Active Bodies, Leadership and Esteem, that camp, I left that with a local community group to kind of be able to take it over and mold it however they want to do it. But it was Camp ABLE, and I had a great team there. And this local committee took it on, and I found it on Facebook, and it's now done its 13th year or something. Actually, no, that was in 2001. So that's been 20 years.
Wow.
That camp has now been going for 20 years. And to me, doing something despite the naysayers, despite the people who don't believe it's possible, those are usually the moments that make me truly, truly proud.
Wow.
And proud of myself for keeping going, proud of myself for not internalizing that doubt, proud of myself for being able to show other people that it is possible to kind of keep going despite maybe the voices that they're hearing from other people and the disbelief. And the same goes from with bobsledding, even more so than winning gold. I think it was from the very first race, when people just underestimated what was possible. And when we, broke a start record, and we, medaled in our very first race. And it was just, I think those feelings of satisfaction, of being able to kind of make other people question their assumptions about, and that's truly what my business is based on, helping people question their assumptions about what they currently believe to be possible or impossible. And then being able to do that personally and opening the doors up, just opening people's minds up just a little bit to be like, oh wait, I never would have thought about it that way. Or maybe I can do that. Just because everyone around me is telling me I can't, maybe I can still do that. And that is my biggest wish for people, that they will keep that kind of openness and start being able to filter out the people who do have that limited definition of what's realistic, that limited view.
Well, I always appreciate our conversations and the way you challenge me and give me hard questions I have to answer, and I appreciate our friendship. So I think it's a great place to leave it, because I didn't even know anything about the Camp Able, and I think it's a part of your story that you don't talk about enough. Because
there are so many things to talk about.
Right, and so Heather, I can't wait to see you in person. I really can't give you a big hug because you're an amazing human being, and thank you so much for joining us at the Global Student Leadership Summit. People get a hold of you how? On social media as well?
Is social media is just at Heather Moyse on Instagram mostly, but and if for any events, they can contact you.
Yep.
They can contact you for that. It'd be amazing. I would love to speak to schools and students and leadership groups, and I've had some pretty rewarding experiences working with students, so it's been fun.
You keynoted the 2019 Canadian Student Leadership Conference, and you were my absolute favorite there. So thanks, Heather. We will talk very soon.